I just want to share what's been going on with my mind and what kind of thoughts go through my head, and just to speak it out, just to find some clarity, find some direction, and maybe inspire you guys. If you're going through the same thing, then you might be able to relate. If not, then enjoy a little bit about, who I am, where I come from, and what goes on in my mind. So basically, for starters, I grew up in a very well-organized household. My mom and my dad are both doctors. And actually, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunt, my uncle, and are all doctors. So, as you can imagine, I come from a family of doctors. So you can only imagine the pressure that's on me to become a doctor. But when I was around, I would want to say, 19, 20 years old, I took a step away from that and decided I'm going to go on my own path, I'm going to go on my own journey and not become a doctor. First year university, when I went to University of Toronto, Mississauga, I applied to a chemical physical sciences in order to get a bachelor in science, and then in order to apply to like dental school or medical school to follow in my parents' footsteps and my family tree's footsteps. But I decided when I turned 20 that I didn't want to go down this route. I didn't want to follow my parents. I wanted to basically rebel, and not rebel in the sense that, like F you guys type of thing, but more so in the sense that I wanted to find myself, what I like, and I didn't want to wake up when I was 30, 40 years old in an operating room or in a clinic of some sort and feel depressed and miserable just because I didn't follow and listen to their advice, or just because I did follow and listen to their advice and then later on resent them for doing so. So I told myself I'm going to go down my own path, and me going down my own path, I had to take full responsibility for that. So whichever way my life panned out, it was my responsibility and my fault for everything that happened. So when I was 20 years old, I had an instant mindset shift that I took full accountability for my life. Whatever happened, whatever happens is my fault, and the way that it plans out, it's going to be on me. Because the last thing I wanted to do was be 50 years old and have resentment to anybody. I don't like to live with resentment, and especially those nearest to me, being my parents and grandparents. So, I'm 24 now. I chose a path of what most people would call like the black sheep in the family, meaning, or the black herd or whatever, is meaning I didn't take the natural way. Natural way being get a job, go to school, get a job, and follow the regular trajectory of life. Instead, what I did was I went and did, first of all, a degree in communications. A lot of people may laugh and say, haha, that's not even a real degree. To be honest, I see where a lot of people come from, but if you ask me, communications is basically the standard and fundamental way that human society coexists. Without communicating and articulating thoughts, societies wouldn't function, governments wouldn't be able to coexist and work together, militaries wouldn't be able to get along. And in my mind, the way that I thought and saw it was, it's just how businesses run, through communicating their message in marketing and advertising. In sales, it's how money is made through articulation of thoughts and persuasion and problem solving. So I said, okay, you know what, this is probably going to be the best thing for me, even though it wasn't the natural course or natural path. So I decided to switch to communications. And a lot of it was also, to be with my friends, because my friends were at a different university. I was alone at another university, and I wanted to be with them, but I also didn't like the program I was in. Nothing interesting was being, taught to me, and I was just, failing the classes that I needed to do, and it just wasn't the way that I wanted to spend the next 4 years, or I didn't want to study for the next 4 years, those specific topics. When it came down to university, obviously some classes were beneficial. The psychology classes, the philosophy classes that I took, and some of the can't even remember all the classes I took now. But anyway, some of the classes were good. Some of the classes taught me what I wanted to learn, and the other ones were just basically bullshit and just woke crazy agenda that they were teaching you. And I basically tried to drift off and turn off my mind in those. Regardless of the fact, I still did good. I still passed university with a good GPA. And then I told myself, okay, I don't want to get a job. I had a huge ego, and I told myself, okay, I don't need to work for anybody. I'm going to start my own business. And obviously starting your own business with zero capital is pretty difficult. So I got my own line of credit. I don't even know how. But yeah, I got a line of credit, started a business, and started selling automotive auto parts, which was great. I really enjoyed it, but working in such a small space in a garage on the floor isn't the most convenient thing, and I didn't really see myself doing this for the rest of my life, so I didn't want to invest, crazy amounts of money to get a hoist, expand, and whatnot. So I just basically kind of did it just to get some side cash while I figured out what I wanted to do. I always loved fitness, and I always loved training. Not always, but the past 3 years, ever since I started making fitness a part of my life, it was kind of like the number one thing for me. And I was like, oh, I want to be a sponsored athlete, I want to be an influencer, and I want to basically just make videos of me flexing on the internet and get paid for people buying shirts. I don't know why. It was probably because I was influenced by other people, because they were doing the same thing, and then I thought, okay, yeah, that's going to be my future and my career. Fast forward to today, I do not want that anymore. I didn't even know why I wanted that. What I decided to, set my goal in my mind to was fitness coaching. I wanted to actually make an impact on other people's lives, help them transform their life, and show them how fitness can transform your life in more ways than you can even imagine. In first of all, your health, the way that you look, your confidence, your financial stability, your faith with God, your relationship, just everything. Fitness is just the foundation to life, and I seen what it did to my life, and I basically took on this journey that, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to help people, and basically dedicate my next 5 to 10 years of my life doing. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least I can't say I never tried, right? So I did that for 1 whole year while doing the part out business, selling car parts, and in that whole 1 year I got one client. And the reason why I got one client was because I was talking at people. I was just providing them value. I was like, okay, this is how you lose fat, this is what you need to do, this is what to do. rather than telling a story and telling my story, because I was afraid to open up, be vulnerable, and show people that I'm a real human being, rather than just some guy that's commoditized himself and talking on a camera. So what I've done differently and learned from the past year of my mistakes is basically introducing and applying my story into my videos and trying to help people through what's worked for me, who I am as a person, what I value, and basically just sharing more of myself to others, which has done exceptionally well for me. Or at least it's been working a lot better. So what I was doing, and where do I want to go with this? I want to go with how it's making me feel and how it's making me think, right? Starting a business, it's going exceptionally well, not in a financial sense, but in the sense that, I'm growing and I'm being more articulate and I'm learning the art of storytelling to be able to connect with people and actually share some of my persona. Financially, it's still in the growing stages, let's just put it that way. And that's what I've really been struggling, because obviously, starting your own business, something that you want to make a full-time thing, isn't going to happen overnight. And I knew that signing up to this, and I knew that when I committed to doing this for 5 to 10 years. And it's shitty because you think to yourself, or at least I do, I have thoughts to myself every single day. Should I have listened to my parents? Should I have just, listened to them and just done the medical thing? Should I have just become a doctor? My life would have been so much easier. My life would have been planned out. Obviously, I would have had to study hard at school. But is it what I really want? Sometimes doubt creeps into my mind. Sometimes I have anxiety that, am I doing the right thing? Sometimes I have thoughts of whatever it may be, like, am I going down the right path? Should I just cancel everything and apply to medical school? Or should I just basically, keep doing this while being in medical school? Will medical school make me happy? Oh, maybe I should just listen to my parents. And basically just being stuck in this feedback loop of, I don't have the results that I want yet. I know I will have them, but I'm stuck in this paradigm of, I've mentally, physically become the person that I want to and become the version of myself that I want to, but my physical present moment hasn't caught up to that yet. And I know one day it will, without a doubt, but it doesn't mean that I don't face these anxious thoughts, that I second guess my choices and I second guess my thoughts on, did I make the right choice? Should I have listened to my parents? Yada, yada, yada. When those do come up, sometimes it brings me down, because, now looking back, if I listen to them, I'm 19 now, 24, basically the 5 years. I would have been done with dental school, I would have been a dentist, and I would have been writing my exams right now. Would I be happy though? And that's what I really ask myself. Are you willing, because right now I'm enjoying this journey, right? Like a lot of people say, oh, they miss the hard times because, that's when the times were best. Like when you were struggling to grow, when you were struggling to build something, and during this struggle is when most people that have already make it say that those were the best times. And I won't lie, these are great times, because you're worried, you're waking up, you're planning your next thing. You don't know when the next paycheck's gonna come in. You don't know when it's gonna blow up. You're working, you're putting in all this work, and you're just waiting for it to pop off and whatnot. And I understand why people say like the struggle of building a business or struggling of getting towards your goals it's the best part, but it's also the part that's been overlooked the most, because you're so focused on achieving that goal that when you do achieve it, you realize that back in that moment when you were working towards all those goals of yours, those were actually the best times. Because it's now looking back, like sometimes I think to myself, oh, okay, how would times be if I already reached all my goal? Like they would be kind of easy, they would be mundane, they would be repetitive. Like now it's kind of like it's such a hustler's mentality, and you're just like chasing, thinking of new ideas, planning, and I'm sure it's not going to be any different when I do make it. But I know that it's these times that are always the ones that people look back on, and I know why. It's because the pain and the struggle, like you got to find joy in that. And I've learned to find joy in the struggle and in the everyday like work, like find joy in the work. And that's what I've really been focusing on these past couple of months, just like, because before I was like getting pissed off, but now I'm actually learning to find joy in the struggle. And it wasn't until I dropped my ego and I was like, okay, it's time to get a real job. It's one of these TikTokers that I follow, his name's Alex Seldick. He said, if you're working on a business, if you're working towards a business, why can't you have a job while you do that? And I thought my ego was so big because I was like, oh, okay, I can't be seen working, I can't be seen having, like a regular 9-to-5 or a regular corporate job, because it shows failure. Actually, it doesn't show failure. Later on, I came to understand, but rather it shows discipline. It shows accountability, and it builds so much more skill sets, and it shows that you're able to balance multiple things in your life. Like, I'm going to tell you guys what I balance currently. I balance a full-time sales job, I balance a full-time business that I'm building, and I balance a girlfriend, and I balance my relationships. Like, I still have a social life because I don't want to go crazy. Obviously, some people balance way more than that, and I'm not saying like my plate is full to the tits. Like, I obviously find myself bored sometimes. I'm like, shit, I could be doing some work on the business, but do I really want to? No. I just want to sit in school. Like, that's just the reality of it. Like, sometimes I'm bored, and it's just normal. So obviously I can be busier, but now I do see with a full-time job while working on my business that it's possible to manage all these different things. Before, I was just doing the business, and I didn't have a full plate. But now, while getting an income from a full-time job, working on my fitness coaching business, and managing my girlfriend at the same time, it just taught me and expanded my mind even more to basically know what I'm capable of. And I feel like I can even do more now. Now that I balance this and that, I feel like I can add something else while I do all these different things. But I know that I'm holding back. I'm like, fuck, I can start another business. I can start another business or whatever. But I know that if I do, then it's just going to take away my focus and my attention from the things that matter, which is, building my sales career and building my fitness coaching business. Oh yeah, that's where that comes in. When I was in Calgary for a year, I think I do have a couple of videos from Calgary, maybe like 1 or 2 last of my videos. I found, while I took a year break from school, a door-to-door sales job, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. Like, I worked retail, I worked at gardening stores, I worked landscaping, and then I found sales, and I basically fell in love in the first month. And why I fell in love with it because it's a struggle. And like I said earlier, fall in love with the struggle. It's not easy. You don't show up, do set task, and get paid for said task. You have to do so much problem solving, so much relationship building, so much self-development to get good at it, so much basically research, how to ask the right questions, how to have the proper conversations, and it's not something that you can get good at overnight. I never envisioned myself, that's why I also didn't want to become like, a doctor, like a dentist like my parents, because it's kind of like the same mundane things. You go to work, you drill some teeth, fix some teeth and whatever, and then come home, and it's same thing. Whereas sales, it's like you're stepping in somebody else's world and reality each conversation, which I find fascinating, and I almost enter this like universe when I talk to people. So I really liked it, and like I said again, it's the fucked up thoughts that get to you. It's like, oh, I'm a salesperson, but my parents are doctors, like they raised a failure. Oh, I'm a salesperson, but my grandparents are doctors. Like I'm a failure, I'm the black sheep. But, I have these crazy thoughts sometimes, but at the end of the day, I know in myself that it'll all work out one day. Number two, it's hard, I won't lie. And that's why I'm making this video, to kind of like help myself through it, because at times like I really do put myself down thinking about all this, thinking what would life be like if I just listened to them. But then I kind of think that all the things, all the adventures, all the things that I've learned, it wouldn't have been the same. Like I wouldn't have been the person that I am today. Like my mindset, my body, my physique, my relationships, they wouldn't have been as developed, as good, and as far ahead as they are today. And I'm grateful for everything that happened and how it happened. And I'm excited for the future. It's sometimes you feel like you could have done things differently, but you can't focus on that. Because if you do, then let me tell you, shit can get rough pretty quickly. So I remind myself every day that you are on your own path, you are on your own journey. You're doing things right. You're not like, indulging in all these crazy things that lead people down a bad and dark path, getting into drugs, getting gambling, alcohol, and all these things that basically, people do and make decisions with and regret on, like credit card debt and all that stuff, and just basically ruining their life. So I remind myself that I'm on the right path. It's just, I'm not scamming anybody. I'm not cheating anybody. I'm not stealing from anybody. So it takes a little bit longer to see your goals and results and things that you have planned for yourself pan out. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay, and I've learned through, which has helped me a lot with fitness, is results take so much longer than you think they will. You're going to go to the gym, if you're new, for the first week, and you're thinking you're going to get jacked in 10 minutes. Like, we were all younger, we all Googled how to get abs in 10 minutes. It doesn't fucking work that way. And same thing with your career, same thing with your future. You're not going to figure it out in 10 minutes. It's a lifelong journey. And I've come to acceptance with that. And I've come to understand that it's not going to be easy. All the answers aren't always going to be there. Some days I'm going to feel better than other days. And the days that I don't feel as good, I'm still going to show up, still going to put in the work, and know that I will always find joy in the struggle. Because what is life without struggle? Nothing. What is life without struggle? Pleasure? Where has pleasure gotten people? Pleasure has gotten people into gambling addictions, sex addictions, every other addiction, and basically you can't have pleasure. You can't have a pleasureful life every single day, because at that point there's no light without darkness, like there is saying, as above so below, yin and yang. All those different sayings are ancient sayings for a reason. You can't have the struggle, or you can't have the success without the struggle. And right now I'm in a time in my life where it's a struggle, where I'm still figuring out who I am, who's Matthew, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's what what your 20s are. Your 20s are basically a time to learn about who you are as a person, what you value, what I basically stand for, and you're just building an identity. And I think it's good. It's better than what some 20-year-olds are getting into. And if you don't do it now, if you don't do the work now of figuring out who you are when you're 20, by the time you're 30, you're going to be told who you are. And that is a future that I am horrified of. I would rather figure out who I am, figure out what I like, than be ever told who I am, who I like, what to do. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video diary. I'm going to start making a little bit more of these, just like life updates, where I am mindset-wise. And hopefully you guys can relate to them. Hopefully you guys can find some value from them. Maybe some inspiration, maybe some joy from them as well. Maybe some peace. Because what you guys see online, what you see on Instagram, it is never like that. Social media has ruined people's perception on the world. Nobody lives a daily life like you see, and nobody's life is as good as it seems to be online. So never compare your life to anybody else's. Never compare your physique to anybody else's. Never compare your relationship to anybody else's. You do you. Live your own best life. I'm talking to you. I love you guys. Create more than you consume. Serve others. Love everyone. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.